The Bostonian is Matt Perrault.
This is our city.
The book is Dave Sharapan.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Together, they are the Bostonian versus the book.
You covered 12. I covered!
Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus the book.
How do you like them apples?
Bringing you the best insight on sports betting news, Matt and Dave's daily picks, and an entertaining and unfiltered dive into the sports betting industry. Here's Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault.
And here we go.
Hey guys, what's up? How are you? Welcome into a Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon episode edition, whatever you want to call this thing we do here every Monday through Friday. It is the Bostonian versus the book. My name is Matt Perrault. We are live on our YouTube channel at Boston versus the book. The same on Twitter and X, where we play on Sports Grid Television on Sirius XM channel 159. And I'm also on Instagram. I forgot to mention that yesterday. We experimented with that in New Hampshire. It worked out pretty well. We're just going to do it on my own Instagram. It's at Sports Talk Matt on Instagram. And I apologize. I went through yesterday and a bunch of people were you guys were writing comments and questions about the topics that we were getting into yesterday, and I didn't see any of them. So part of this whole thing where I'm running everything is that I can't communicate the way I used to be able to with you guys. So the best way, if you have like a question, like a real question that you want me to answer, either live during the show, go to YouTube, super chat it, then I won't miss it. So that's easy. Or go and email me. And there's multiple ways of doing that. You can go to the website, which is thebvbshow.com, or you can email askthebvb, which is always on the scroll, except on the replay on Sports Grid because they cover that up. But the scroll live or on YouTube, there's the email address, askthebvb@gmail.com. And I'll do my best to answer it as much as I can, as quickly as I can for you guys whenever you have a question. So I apologize to the folks. If you're watching again on Instagram, it's my bad. I can only do so many things here and keep things rolling. I don't think we froze much yesterday, by the way, which is a very big concern because when I'm in New Hampshire, I am using, obviously, Amanda's house and her internet is awesome. And she also has some like little tricks things that she showed me. So like I haven't had the time. I've been back from Scotland for like 48 hours. So I haven't had the time to do the upgrades here in my house that I'm going to do at some point in the very near future. So hopefully we haven't had any problems. Yesterday, I think was pretty good. Cross our fingers for today that we equally will be okay from an internet standpoint coming up here with this for that. Before we do anything else, want to say a big shout out to our guy, Dave. If you have the time today, go and wish Dave happy birthday. And this is a request, but it's also kind of a command to the brigade. I need your help. I need you guys to go in. This is not like, hey, if you have time. No, this is like a request from me to go to social media and send Dave happy birthday messages. Send him videos. The guy needs a pick-me-up, okay? He needs something good to happen. He's been down on his luck. I am efforting to go see him today at the hospital that he is being kept at. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get over there or not. I'm asking the family, like, can I go see him? And when are the hours to go and visit him? And it has to fit. I have my daughter this week, so I got to figure out what's happening with that. But I'm trying to see Dave today on his birthday. But the best way to do it is just go social media wise. And I know he may not see it today, but hopefully he'll see it in the next couple of days at SportsBKConsig. Like, let's help our guy out. Let's show him how much we care about him. Let's show him that we miss him and that we want him back and be a part of this show and be a part of everything that's going on, regardless of what is going on for him in terms of what he sounds like or what he looks like, feels like, whatever. Like, well, let's just tell him that, this is where we want him to be. And we're behind him, we're backing him, and we're caring and wondering and wanting more information about what's going on with him. And so he can get back and get healthy. So at SportsBKConsig, please go wish him a happy birthday. Whatever you can do, like whether it be, again, video, a message, a card, whatever you want to make. Let's try to show Dave today that we're all thinking about him on his birthday. So again, I hope to be able to go there and see him. But I can't just like bust in. I have to be given permission to go see him. So I'm hopefully to be able to do that at some point in the next, either today, if not today, tomorrow, if not tomorrow, this week. Because I couldn't see him yesterday just because of the nature of coming back from the travel. But I 100% want to see him today if I can. So more info on that as we go. But in the meantime, at SportsBKConsig, go to Twitter. He doesn't have an Instagram. It's basically all Twitter for him. So at SportsBKConsig, go wish him a happy birthday. In the chat today, periodically, I want you guys to tell me who is going to win the national championship in college football. On Tuesdays, until we get to the kickoff, and basically that's 2 weeks, August 23rd, 11 days, we're going to do heavy college football. So today, Tuesday, heavy college football. Tomorrow, NFL. Thursday, Debro joins us for the AFC side of things. We had to pause it for our travel, but we did all the NFC already for prop betting, for season-long props. We're going to do that on Thursday with the AFC West coming up on Thursday with Debro, and Friday is the Fight Song Friday that we'll get into with college football and NFL football and preseason football and everything else going on. So that's kind of the cadence as to how this is going to go for the next 3 weeks or so, right? So like Monday will be just a potpourri of things as to what happened over the weekend. Tuesday is going to be college football. Wednesday, NFL. Thursday, NFL. Friday, back to being kind of the open potpourri of everything until we get to college football, Iowa State, Kansas State. More on that in 1 second. On the 23rd for week 0, and then week 1 happening over Labor Day weekend. I then have surgery on the debut of the NFL on the 4th of September. I have surgery, so we won't have a show that Friday, unfortunately. And then hopefully I'm back the following Monday looking. We'll see what I look like. I'm going to be in New Hampshire for 3 weeks. I got to go back. Like, it's been a whirlwind, but I have to go back because I'm going to have the surgery. I'm not going to have it here. I'm going to have it done by a specialist in New Hampshire, and hopefully it goes well, but it's a little bit of a tricky surgery to repair the torn tendon in my chest. So hopefully everything goes okay. And then I got to start the rehab in New Hampshire and then come back here to Vegas to continue with the rehab. How I do the show in a sling on TV, I don't know, because I talk with my hands. My last name is French Canadian, but I am Italian. I talk with my hands. So I'm throwing pencils. I'm not going to be able to do that in a sling, unfortunately. And hopefully I'm off the pain meds quickly. So that's why I'm not going to be doing anything content-wise for the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, or the 7th of September. Just because I don't trust myself if I'm on narcotics. I don't trust myself to recommend bets while I'm high on narcotics. So that's that's what's going to happen. But then hopefully come on back on Monday, and then we're good to go for the first Monday Night Football day and to recap the weekend and everything else. So that's kind of the cadence over the next couple of weeks as to how this is going to roll with us. Next week, Thursday, Friday, we're live at Circa for 2 shows, 2 hours, 11 to 1 Pacific time from 2 to 4 Eastern time, back to the old show schedule. We're going to do that from Circa Sports for the Ultimate Football Contest weekend for next week. So we're going to have a ton of fun with that. Like, that's going to be awesome. We'll probably move Debro. If we can move him to Wednesday, we'll probably move him to Wednesday for next week because of the live shows. But who knows who's going to be stopping by. I'm pulling out all the stops for anybody in Vegas to say, come on in. Let's be a part of it. Let's be here. Yeah. A loopy me might be good or might be bad. I don't know. I might say some things I'm not supposed to. 11 to 1 Pacific. What's wrong with that? That's not Greenwich Mean Time. 11 to 1. So it's 2:00 Eastern live, 11 a.m. Back to the old time frame when it comes to this. Pain meds might make it more interesting. It's true. But it's going to be an interesting week for sure for that week with that. So could the specialist do it on, say, a Friday night? I don't think so. No, September 4th is horrible timing. It's horrible timing. When they told me when the surgery was scheduled, I was like, you're kidding me, right? September the 4th? They're like, it's the fastest we can do, and we have to get in to fix this now. Like, you can't wait. I should have had surgery already. Like, in all honesty, I shouldn't have gone to Scotland, and I should have had surgery. Like, but I was up against that. Like, that was the problem. I was like, I'm going to Scotland. Like, I can use my arm. The problem is I can use my arm. It's not the joint. The problem is the shoulder is completely fine. My shoulder is great. I can pick things up. I could live the rest of my life without having this surgery. But what's going to happen to me at 48 years of age, if I don't repair this tendon, my arm is going to atrophy. And my arm is going to slowly deteriorate to the point where then I can't use it. Like right now, I can't throw anything. I can't throw a wiffle ball. I can't throw anything that removes my arm like this. If you're watching, not listening, if you're watching, if I try to use my arm in that motion at all, it's gone. Any pushing, any pulling, anything of like a baseball throw, cannot do it. I don't have the tendon that connects my chest to my shoulder. It's ripped. It's gone. It's called a major pectoral tear is what I have. So it's a little bit frustrating because I can go to Scotland and I can carry luggage and I can do everything that like just from a day-to-day perspective, but I can't golf. I can't lift and running is not really recommended. So like it's going to get worse as I get older in age. It's going to get worse. Like there's been moments in my family's history where these decisions have been made and they haven't gone well for my family. Like my grandfather, and this is very much a different extreme, but to give you where I'm talking about, my grandfather was told that if he had quintuple bypass surgery, that he would live an additional 10 years. If he had the surgery, he was living, he was fine. They said, hey, but your heart might stop at any moment and you might not be here. So you can run the risk and play the gamble, or you can go and have surgery at 81 years of age, have this major heart surgery, and you could live for another 10 years. And so my grandfather said, okay, he went in and did it. And he died from complications of that surgery. And so our family has always had the conversation of being like, man, like he didn't want to have it, but he had it because the doctors convinced him that he was going to live for 10 more years after having it. And he died from complications from the surgery. So like that, could I wind up being worse after the surgery? I guess that's possible. Yes, I could wind up being worse from it, but that's why I have to have it in football season on day one, weekend one of the NFL. Like it can't get worse. Like you cannot plan this out for my career. You could not make it worse timing to have surgery, but it's a pretty major surgery. It's a 7-inch incision that's going from on my shoulder. So it's not orthoscopic. It's a gigantic scar that I'm going to have from this surgery. It's no fun, but they took the MRI and they're like, we have to do this. So when are we doing this? and I said, well, I'm going to Scotland, so it's got to be after that. And they're like, okay, our first opening after that is September the 4th. Okay. So first thing in the morning, September the 4th is when I'm having the repair done and then the rehab. And so I turned 50. I'm 48. I turned 50 in about 18 months. The goal is to have a golf vacation when I turn 50 is to be playing golf. That's the goal. I'm giving myself 18 months of rehab to get back to being able to play golf. Will that happen? I don't know. Anytime you have surgery, you don't know, but that's why I'm having the surgery. That's what's going on. It's not ideal. It's pretty bad, but that's why we will miss the show on the 4th and 5th of September, which is the leading into the first weekend of the NFL, which is the worst time ever to be off. But I will be off for those 2 days because there's no way I'm going to be able to sit here for an hour and talk and prep and have everything when I am high on painkillers. No, the hope is to return the following Monday. But again, we'll see how the surgery goes and we'll see how I feel. Crossing my fingers that we're going to be good to go from that. But in the chat today, tell us who wins the college football national championship. Why? Because we're starting the program today. A lot of college football, like I mentioned, opening line on the AP poll. All right, let's get into this because the opening line for us today, the SEC and the Big Ten, they are slowly building an empire that will not be able to be challenged by anybody. And we are watching this slow drag over the last 25 years where at some point in time, we are only going to have 2 conferences in college football. And we have to be sort of okay with this. I'm not okay with it, but I'm trying to convince myself to be okay with this because look, the AP poll comes out preseason. It means nothing. So the teams in the order means nothing, but you've got Ohio State, Penn State out of the Big Ten. You've got 6 of the top 10 teams out of the SEC, and you have 16 of the 25 teams in the preseason top 25 poll are from 2 conferences, Big Ten, SEC. They widen the gap. Parity does exist among the national contenders, but the national championship contenders essentially are from 2 conferences and 1 independent. Notre Dame. It's Big Ten, it's SEC, and it's the Irish. That's basically what college football has been. But every once in a while, we have the idea, the dream, like the what if of a college program from the western part of the country, from potentially a non-Power 5 that might be able to do some damage, knock somebody out, have a real college football championship, have a real playoff. Because what we watched last year for the first ever 12-team playoff, the first weekend was garbage. It was blowout after blowout after blowout. And my guess is we will see a very similar situation with that because we know what the play is for the Big Ten and the SEC. The play is eventually to gobble up anybody that can play in the big boy world of NIL and other big-time dollar leagues, and then essentially break away and have their own national championship, leaving everybody else to fend for themselves. I did some research this morning, and I was poking around, and I want to put this up because I thought this was fascinating to watch the progression of college football over the last 25 years. Take a look at this. In 2000, there were 116 FBS programs in 11 conferences. 11 conferences played what is considered to be big-time FBS, not power, but big-time college football, meaning they're investing millions of dollars into their football program. 10 years later, there were 120 FBS programs. That was the year Nebraska joined the Big Ten, Colorado went to the Pac-12, and then later we saw the Big 12 take Colorado when the Pac-12 was dying. 11 years later, there were 130 FBS programs in 10 conferences. So we have 14 more D1, if you want to call them, 1A, we used to call them versus 1AA, 1A programs, 130 of them. Yet we've lost a conference. Now we're down to 10 conferences in FBS college football. And that's the year that Texas and Oklahoma voted to join the SEC. It took a couple of years for them to officially join and play in the SEC, but they're now full-time members of the SEC in 2011. And now this year, going into this season, there are 136 FBS programs in 10 conferences. And we go into this year with 16 of the 25 preseason AP poll teams are from the SEC and the Big Ten. So we have more FBS programs than we ever have had. We have less conferences than we had 25 years ago. And yet we have 2 power conferences that are dominating, and the media, the Associated Press, the coverage, it's all happening around 2 conferences, and we're good with it. I'm not good with it. I don't believe that leads to parity. It leads to control for the SEC and the Big Ten, and that's it. They want their own rules. They want their own league. And essentially, they want to be a professional league. Those teams are no longer playing college football. They are paying their players. They are sharing in the revenue with their players. This is not college amateur football anymore. This is a minor league system to the NFL. This is about development. This is about playing for conference championships to become the best player possible and make a lot of money. The NFL has been so lucky to have this feeder system of college football into their leagues that they don't have to pay for I'm 48. I know no other situation besides college football being a feeder system to the NFL in which the NFL pays nothing for it. In minor league hockey, in minor league basketball, and in minor league baseball, the league, NBA, NHL, and MLB, they're all financially involved with the minor league. They all have contracts. They draft, they sign, they are responsible for the player, medical, all the things that go through it, the development, they're involved. The franchises in which they loan the players to, they don't have involvement. But with the G League, the league does. And with the WNBA, the league does. They own it. So NBA is even more involved. College football has been operating in this weird gray area for so long that now the smoke of that gray fog is clearing, and we're all really seeing what actually has been happening for the last 25 years. Why are there 20 more teams playing FBS football today than there were in 2000? Money. Playing FCS football makes no sense. I've said that for years. UMass won a FCS national championship, 1AA national championship. It made no sense. I was like, why are they spending the money to do that? Nobody cared. I've told the story before. When my school won the 1998 national championship, they returned from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Marcel Shipp, who went on to an NFL career, had an unbelievable postseason. There were 30 kids there. UMass is a big school, like 25,000 kids. When UMass went to the Final Four in 1996 and lost to Kentucky, the entire university rioted afterwards. Kids were throwing couches off the top of the high-rises on campus at UMass. When the football program won, that's when they lost the Final Four. When they won the national championship, there were 30 kids there when they came back. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. I called the national semifinal for our college station. I was the sports director. I went and did a basketball game. I called UMass basketball over the college football national championship. It was my pick. I picked basketball. I sent a team to Chattanooga. Why? Because it was FCS football. Nobody cared. I didn't care. So that's why teams have moved up. That's why we're seeing less and less independent teams. The Irish are there. They're going to stay independent because that's their thing. But everybody else who's independent, UMass being one of them, like you're just a vagabond. You're just like lost. You become a whipping boy. You're a paycheck. You're showing up to be paid $500,000 to lose to these power conference teams that just want to pad their resume. That's what UMass basically is now from a football program. So this is a era now that is driven entirely by dollars, dollar signs. That's what it's all about. It always was, but now we're not lying anymore. Now we're just straight up going after it. We're just completely building everything with college football, and we are going to allow the Big Ten and the SEC to break away at some point, and they would be justified in doing so. Look at the AP poll. Look at what they're doing. They're saying essentially that, like, hey, I can pretty much guarantee you the national championship will be coming from the Big Ten or the SEC. There's nobody else. There's nobody in the Big 12. K-State's not a relevant conversation piece. There's nobody in the Mountain West. Come on. ACC's got Clemson. Okay, so you got one program. You got one team in the top 10 in Clemson that might have something to say about the national championship. Other than that, who else? If Alabama smokes Florida State, that's pretty much it for them in week one. Seminoles aren't going to be a real, conversation piece. The most interesting team not named Clemson in the ACC is North Carolina, and that's because the 73-year-old coach is dating a 24-year-old, and he's, not listening to anybody but himself and doing whatever he wants. That makes North Carolina interesting. But on the football field, they're expected to stink. Like 7 wins, maybe, for the Tar Heels. So this is all about 2 conferences. And yet, we're all going to go gaga about game 1 or week 0 in 11 days. When over in Dublin, we're going to see number 17 K-State take on number 22 Iowa State in a non-conference game, by the way. I think this is a Big 12 game. Actually, I think it is a Big 12 game. But First time since 2002 that we're having a week 0 ranked versus ranked game. We don't see this very often. And it's two teams in the Big 12 that people have expectations for, but not college football championship playoff expectations, not of the upper echelon. Neither one of these teams are expected to contend with anybody in the Big 10 or the SEC from the top level. Michigan, Ohio State. No, look at the SEC schools. Georgia, Alabama, LSU. Like, come on. Texas is number 1. Oklahoma's going to be pretty good. But that's the first. We'll be pumped up about this. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to bet it. I'll be excited. But nothing compared to what's going to happen here when number 1 Texas goes to Ohio State. And it's the first time in the history of the AP poll, which has been going on since the 1800s, that the number 1 team in the country in week 1 is a dog, because they are. Texas is a dog to Ohio State going on the road, 1 versus 3 in a crazy week 1 matchup that will have massive ratings. Will it have massive implications? I don't know. The beautiful thing about the playoff now is we can get a game like this and it's not an eliminator. Like in previous years, this was like, you lose this game early, you're hoping to get into the BCS, or you're hoping to get into the 4-team playoff if you can survive it. Now, both these teams are in, whether they win or lose. This is about a measuring stick as to where they are. And when they play, if they play in the playoff, who would have the upper hand? Because we've seen the game before. Is Arch Manning the guy? Is he the next great Manning? Is he a Heisman Trophy candidate? Is he going to win the Heisman? That's what's going into that game. We have LSU and Clemson. Like I mentioned, Clemson being the only team in the ACC worth talking about from a championship standpoint. Top 5 team preseason. Clemson's got a quarterback. Clemson's got a coach. Clemson's got a defense. Let's see what they look like against LSU. LSU's got to go on the road. LSU's schedule is brutal, but their quarterback is also a Heisman Trophy candidate. And Nussmeier is going to get a lot of love. If he goes to Clemson in the Death Valley and wins that game, that's huge. And then the Irish are on the road to Miami, where the Miami Hurricanes are relevant after Cam Ward did what he did last year, number 1 pick in the NFL draft, starting quarterback for the Titans. Now they've got a former Georgia quarterback coming in to see what he's going to do under this offense and what he can accomplish. The Irish looking to continue to build upon the great year they had last year and the great run they had last year. They're going to run the ball and play defense like they did last year. Can they go on the road to Miami and beat a team in the ACC? Probably. Yeah. Probably. Big win for the Irish to start the season. Top 10 scalp. How good's Miami? We'll see. We'll see. It's still up there. But we have to all just acknowledge that college football, oh boy, it's the SEC and it's the Big 10. It's all about money. And we are going to have to just accept it, that the game that we all grew up loving and the game that we have watched for years from a college football standpoint, it is very different. There's a lot of parity. Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia. These are all teams that are going to be in the conversation for a national championship, but they're all from 2 conferences. I'm rooting for Clemson. Wearing the orange today, wearing the orange. I'm pulling for Clemson. I would love to see Clemson win the national championship and stop all of this. Do I think that's going to happen? No, I do not. In the chat, tell me who you think is going to win the national championship. Who would? Chapel Bill? Yeah, that's what it is. It's Chapel Bill on this. We'll see what they look like. We'll see how they'll do it and where they go from here. But yeah, big difference between the Final Four and the FCS title. Yes, big difference. Josie Midas, sure. There's a huge difference between the two. But the thing about the Final Four in college basketball, and we'll end it with this. I've quoted Barry Hinson for years. The little guy is the magic that makes the NCAA tournament so fun. There is no little guy in college football. There has never been, but there was the dream. Now, the dream of the little guy in college football is 100% dead. And frankly, and the problem with this that I have is that everyone seems to be totally okay with that. And I think that stinks. Talk about what happened last night. All right, what happened last night? Major League Baseball. Alex Bregman goes back to Houston. Carlos Correa in his first game back at home with the Astros. Garrett Crochet, his worst start of the year for the Red Sox. He gets racked. We talked about the over 7.5, and that game comes in. Bregman goes deep in the first inning, but the Red Sox fail 7-6, lose 7-6. Fun night at the ballpark. Two teams that might wind up playing in the playoffs. Again, I had the Astros ticket at 10-1 to win the World Series. If they could get Alvarez back, my gosh, that team, they're playing at a very high level. They're pitching at a very high level. They're tough to beat at home. And we talked about them as a dog. They're now 5-0. When the Astros are at home and they are dogs of plus 140 or higher, they're 5-0 straight up in those games. So watch for the Astros as we go into August and September. If their numbers get exploded, if their numbers just get kind of elevated because of who they're facing, and it was Garrett Crochet, and the Red Sox had lost 2 games in a row, and it was arguably the second best pitcher in the American League that they were facing, that was why that number was where it was. And that's why I prefer the over, because the Astros, they hit lefties. And they hit Crochet early and often yesterday. That's a number. Plus 140 or higher. The Astros now are 5-0 straight up when they are home dogs of that price or higher. Big win for Houston. Same two teams go at it here for tonight. We haven't done it in a while. Ohtani watch. All right, a couple of stories involving Ohtani. First, the good. Ohtani hits his 42nd home run in his first game back at Angel Stadium last night. 7-4 win for Ohtani. For the Angels over Ohtani. So they get a W there and over a team in the Dodgers that I'm just not impressed with. And I think if you are a Dodger fan, you cannot be just sort of, throw your hands up and say it's going to be fine when it comes to what this team looks like on the road. The Dodgers are 68-51 on the year, but they are 30-27 on the road. They are just a little bit above 500 on the road. Now, it's better than being under 500, obviously. And the Padres, who are 1 game back, the Padres are under 500 for their road record. They're 29-32. But the Dodgers just do not scare me when it comes to that pitching staff. Come the postseason, I can't wait to see what the rotation is going to be. Ohtani has 42 home runs. He's awesome. But there's another story involving Ohtani that came out this morning that is not good. Ohtani is being sued for his involvement in a massive real estate scandal in which him and his agent are being accused of sabotaging a $240 million project, which at the time was considered one of the most expensive real estate projects for a residency in U.S. history. Ohtani was supposed to be the first buyer of these luxury estates that were being built in Hawaii. And he was going to be, and according to the lawsuit, he was going to be compensated an ungodly amount of money for being the PR wing of this project in Hawaii. And until it all comes out, I don't feel comfortable just throwing out accusations, because lawsuits, who knows what. But I think just from a 30,000 foot perspective, we do have to start to ask some questions about the character of Shohei Ohtani. He keeps on getting wrapped up in these situations. Ohtani is squeaky clean to those people who are around him. And yet his interpreter is currently in federal prison for, as the story goes, he stole money from Ohtani to go gamble. Right. Because we all believe that. And now he's involved in a real estate scandal in which he's being accused of sabotaging and undermining and destroying a real estate project in Hawaii because he was supposed to be involved. He was supposed to be the face of it, and now he's not. How? Why? The way it went down, it'll all come out in the lawsuit. It's not criminal. This is a civil matter. But from a character standpoint, we keep on having these conversations about Shohei Ohtani. Like, we keep on having these conversations about this dude. Like, it is wild. Like, how many more of these stories are we going to have about Shohei Ohtani and his behavior off the diamond? On the diamond, the dude's Babe Ruth. Like, he's the best player of my life. I'm 48 years old. He's the best all-around baseball player I have ever seen. I've watched him in person. I've watched him on TV a ton. He's must-see TV at every turn. But off the field, every time we're talking about Ohtani off the field, it's not a good story. Or it feels like it's not a good story. And it feels like he didn't do anything wrong. This is another story of like, well, it wasn't his fault. He did nothing wrong. This is some misunderstanding, or this is somebody doing something to him. His agent did something he wasn't aware of. It's never Ohtani. Like, he is never to blame. He's never the victim. He's never the one. He's always the victim, just getting wrapped up in some cockamamie scheme. It's never his fault. You know, it is wild. It is, just saying, it is pretty wild to look at Ohtani, and he's worth so much money. And he is such an international superstar. And Hawaii is literally right in the middle between LA and Japan. Like, it's the perfect place to build and have Ohtani be the face of a real estate venture that started back in 2023. And now here in 25, the whole thing is falling apart, and him and his agent, Shohei and his agent, are being sued for their involvement for taking down this said real estate venture. Watch and see what happens there. How about the Brewers? The Brewers win their 10th consecutive game with a 7-1 win over the Pittsburgh Pirates yesterday. We told you about the run line. Bet the Brewers on the run line. That cashed. Milwaukee is now the 10th team since 1969 to have 2 10-game winning streaks in one season. The last team to do it, the 2019 Houston Astros. Where did they go? They went to the World Series and lost, but they won the pennant in the American League. The Brewers have the best record in baseball by far. They are 74-44. They are 40-20 at home. And no one else in Major League Baseball even has 70 wins. They have the best record by far in Major League Baseball after what they have done. It is unreal to watch what the Brewers are doing at the moment. And again, I have a 27-1 ticket on the Brewers to win the World Series. I'm ecstatic. Like, I'm all in on the Brewers. Let's go. Like, let's go for the Brewers to see what they can do here if they can go and win the World Series. They have the pitching, they have the hitting, and frankly, I don't care that it's Paul Skeens. The price today is wild. Now, I need to go and look at the price. Because last night the price was different, obviously, than the price for today. Has the price moved? The price is no. This price is still very reasonable. Minus 125 or minus 130. Somebody needs to tell me what is going on here with the Brewers and the Pirates. How is this number this cheap? I know it's Paul Skeens. I know that the Pirates have won 3 of the 4 starts since the All-Star break in games started by Paul Skeens. I know that he basically shuts out everybody, but Peralta is 7-1 at home. Like, this is the Brewers who are 40-20 at home. I don't care if they win the game 1-0. The idea that we get the Brewers who have won 10 games in a row at this price, you have to bet this. Like regardless if it wins or not, this is just one of those general principle plays. You have to play this. Like, you have to bet this. It's too damn cheap. Like, this is, you have to bet this. No, Chef Benny, don't be careful. No. I mean, it's Dave's birthday, sure. But even if it misses, you have to bet this. I am 4-0 over my last 4 bets with the Brewers. Okay. Keep going. Like, just bet this team. And when we get this price, you have to bet. I don't care who's on there. This is the Astros against Crochet all over again, right? So you had Crochet yesterday for the Red Sox. The Astros were plus 150 on the money line, and they won the game 7-6. I had the over, so I was fine with it, but that price was wrong. I mean, the Astros should not have been a plus 150 dog, regardless of who was pitching for the Red Sox. The Brewers should not be just $1.25 to bet this today. Again, it can lose. The Pirates can win the game 1-0, and then it breaks, it snaps the 10-game winning streak 100%. But from this price, thank you. Like, this is just like walk up to the window and say thank you. Take it. Minus 125? Are you kidding me? We won't get better prices maybe for the rest of the year when it comes to these two teams. This is a very unique situation to get a 40-20 team, 20 games over 500 at home for the Brewers, 74-44 overall, 30 games over 500 in total. And they're at home riding a 10-game winning streak, and they're only a minus 125 favorite. Oh, okay. Thank you. Second bet, I'm going to take a shot here with the Marlins at plus 125. Why? Well, Logan Allen's going. He's a lefty. Marlins are 29-30 on the road this year. They've been sneaky on the road. Tough team to beat. 2 wins in a row for the Guardians in games started by Logan Allen, but he had lost 2 games before that against the Baltimore Orioles and the Sacramento Athletics. He beat the Mets and the Rockies here. For Logan Allen at home, he has an ERA over 4, a 4-7 record, not great, and he's facing a pitcher in Jansen Junk who's been pretty good. The team has won 5 of 6 in games started by Jansen Junk, and we've talked about the Marlins and how profitable they've been this year when they've been road dogs. This is a road dog for the Marlins. I'm going to take a shot at it at plus 125. It's plus 115 now, so some money's come in here on Miami, but I like the Marlins today at plus 125 on the money line. Brewers at minus 125 and the Marlins at plus 125, both on the money line. Prop bet time. All right, BvB prop of the day. I saw this and I was like, hold on. Like, wait. I'm a Red Sox fan, like you guys know, okay? Dustin May is starting for the Red Sox against the Astros. You can get plus money potentially on whichever book you're looking at here. Plus 105, plus 110 on over 2.5 runs for Dustin May. Now, he has started one time for the Red Sox since being traded to the Red Sox. He gave up 3. And the starts that he had before the Red Sox trade from the Dodgers, he gave up more than 2.5 earned runs in every game except the start on the 3rd of July up against the White Sox. He had given up more than 2.5 runs in 6 of 7 starts for the Dodgers. Now, you could say maybe it's injury, maybe it's the team he's pitching for. Regardless, the Astros are going to hit Dustin May today. They hit Crochet. That lineup's hot. 2.5 earned over. And I'm getting plus money? The price is wild to me. Like, okay, so Dustin May is going to wind up going to, like, are you going to wind up going to, that game and going, like, okay, Dustin May is going to shut down the Houston Astros. Huh? I don't see that happening. That would be somewhat surprising as to see how that winds up going. We hit it yesterday, right? I played 2 prop bets. I went 1-1 on props yesterday. I'm pretty sure the prop bet hit yesterday. So we're 1-0 so far on the week for our prop bets. I think Dustin May gives up 3 at least 3. And yes, Jason Casey, he gave up those to the Royals. Yes, 3 earned runs to the Royals. Over, I don't mind the over in the game. I don't hate it. That's not a bad play. It's 8.5. It's on the money line, to be quite honest, to bounce back today. I think the Boston could win the game even with Dustin May pitching. I just don't think Dustin May is going to get up here and spin, an unbelievable situation. Interesting point here by JPC saying the leash he's on. Well, if he gives up 3 earned runs, he's out of the game. So if he gives up 2 earned runs, he's going to stay in the game. For him, how long he's pitched, he went 3 2/3 for the Red Sox, gave up 3 earned runs. Then with the Dodgers, 5, 4 2/3, 4 2/3, and 7 in the month of July for him. He goes 4 or 5 runs. 4 or 5 innings rather. And I think he'll give up 4 or 5 runs today. Nice. That's good, Eric. Just snagged May over 2.5 earned runs at plus 127. He may give up 2 or 3 earned runs in the first inning, by the way. Like, It may not take long for the Astros to go ahead and get some action in to score on Dustin May. Dustin May's not a good pitcher. Like, that's why Red Sox fans were so mad about Dustin May being traded. They were like, who? Really? What? That's not enough. Circa Sports Pro Football Story of the Day. We are rapidly approaching the ultimate contest weekend. BvB Live for 2 shows, Thursday and Friday for 2 hours, August 21st and 22nd. We're going to be upstairs in one of the ballrooms at Circa Sports in Las Vegas in downtown to celebrate both, really all 3 contests happening for Circa. Circa Million, Circa Survivor, 5 picks against the spread, Circa Million, multiple ways to win, including booby prizes and quarterly prizes, and then Survivor. 6 million up for grabs with Million, 15 million up for grabs with Circa Survivor. That is 1 pick per week for 20 consecutive weeks, really 18 seasons, 18 weeks, and then Thanksgiving and Christmas. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere, hire a proxy. And for more information, you guys can go to circasports.com. We will be there coming up in just a little over a week, 8-9 days, live from Circa once again on the 21st and 22nd. If you are a Packer fan, you might want to look away here on this because this is not the news you wanted to, although your quarterback is expected to play in week number 1. Jordan Love has a thumb procedure on his left hand. He's expected to be ready to go week 1, but this is not what you want. You do not want your starting quarterback having to have a procedure on his hand that is going to keep him out of practice and away from the reps to get ready for the season. They expect him to play week number 1, but that is not the type of story that you want to see if you are a Packer fan, with Jordan Love having a procedure on his left thumb, not his right thumb. Okay, it's not his right hand, not his throwing hand, it's his left hand. So that's the big break. If you're a Packer fan looking for a break, there's definitely some silver linings with that, but that is, you don't want those things. You don't want those things at all when it comes to this. Oh, I froze. There was my first freeze. Okay, sorry. Maybe it was one of the websites I was on that. We'll clear some of these out, see if we can. I don't think I froze much yesterday, but like, cross my fingers on that to see. Hopefully that's not going to happen all that often. But if you're a Packer fan, that's not what you want to see at all. BvB Brigade Proxy Service story, college story. We're not going to do teams until college kickoff. We're doing college stories for a bit. All right, you guys, if you are coming to Vegas for the Ultimate Football Contest weekend with Circa, or if you're looking for a Westgate proxy as well, we can take care of you. There will be an announcement as to how this is all going to go. I can sign you up. I can take care of you, but how you submit your picks will be different because we will explain on Thursday of next week. We'll have a full interview with the person who is going to be entering the picks this year for us. One of our proxy friends has volunteered to do it this year for us. And frankly, it is an unbelievable gesture. It is an unbelievable act that this person has done. And I'm moved by this person's willingness to do this for us, but I can still sign you up. If you're coming to Vegas, hit me up. We can, this weekend, all next week, at Circa next week, Thursday, Friday, we can get you signed up with the Brigade Proxy Service. If you want to go ahead and book your appointment, send us a text at 702-570-8255 or go to the website, thebvbshow.com. I know there's a couple of emails I got to answer today. Yesterday was, I don't even know what happened yesterday. I was in and out of consciousness after the show yesterday. I was so darn tired. I went to bed at 9:00 last night and I woke up at 7. I haven't slept for 10 hours straight for a long time. So I apologize. I know there are text messages and emails that I have to answer today, and I will do that after the show is over here today. But go to the website, thebvbshow.com, or text us on our text line at 702-570-8255. The answer is yes. The proxy service is existing still. But how you submit your picks this year will be different because somebody else is going to be entering the picks. He is a very well-respected, very experienced person that knows exactly what he is doing and knows exactly how to do it. So this is not anything to worry about. This is just somebody stepping up who's been in the business for a very long time, with Dave being sick, stepping up and saying, I got you guys. I'll help you. We'll keep the business going. We'll keep the proxy service alive for you guys, but we're going to help you out while Dave is battling. So huge thank you to this person. All will be revealed very, very soon coming up with that. Let's talk about the Heisman. Have you guys looked at the Heisman numbers yet? Here, this is FanDuel. Here are your Heisman numbers. Arch Manning plus 750. Cabe Klubnik 9-1. Gary Nussmeier, LSU quarterback 9-1. And then it goes up from there. Jeremiah Smith, Ty Simpson, who won the job, by the way, for Alabama. So it gets you curious. Ty Simpson will be the starting quarterback for the Crimson Tide at 16-1. Lenora Sellers, who might be the most talented NFL-ready quarterback in the country for South Carolina at 17-1. If I was going to bet anyone, it would be Lenora Sellers for South Carolina. NFL scouts have got their eyes on him. They think he's going to be outstanding, and he could have a really big year. South Carolina went into Alabama last year, nearly knocked off the Tide. They're going to have a couple chances to do some big things in the SEC this year, and Lenora Sellers needs to be on a very good football team to win the Heisman. Did he have enough hype and enough momentum to win? I don't know, but he very well could be in New York, and having a 17-1 ticket wouldn't be that bad to have it. Arch Manning is the leader going into the season, and if Arch Manning plays the way he's capable of playing, Arch Manning will win the award. Like, it's wide open because I don't know what Arch will look like in his first full season at Texas. Like, let's just say Texas loses week 1 at Ohio State, right? They go down. Oklahoma is not going to be a pushover this year. They could lose to Oklahoma in the Red River. So that would be 2 losses in the first 2 months of the season for Arch Manning and Texas. They could still very well make the college football playoff with 2 losses. They could be in the SEC championship game, and then they are in. They could have 3 losses. They could lose to, say, Georgia in the SEC championship game like they did last year and have 3 losses and still get a bid into the playoff. And Arch Manning may take Texas to a national championship, and you could wind up being the number 1 pick in the upcoming NFL draft. But he won't win the Heisman with that. Like, that's what makes that race so wide open and so interesting, is because of the schedule for Texas. And then you look at like LSU, they have a horrific schedule. They have such a hard schedule, starting off by going to Cabe Klubnik and Clemson. If Nussmeier outplays Klubnik head-to-head, well, that's going to vault him in the Heisman Trophy situation, and Klubnik will drop and Nussmeier will rise. Or flip it around. If Cabe Klubnik plays great at home and lights up LSU, and Nussmeier plays poorly against Clemson, well, then his candidacy is probably done, and Klubnik goes. So, like, take a snapshot of what that race looks like, and that race is wide open. Like, wide open from an odds perspective and a betting perspective. You guys can take shots all over the place on this. The defending champs, I guess Jeremiah Smith is probably worth a mention, but I don't think he has nearly the cachet as the other names on this list, and nowhere near Arch Manning. So Ty Simpson, same situation. That kid's got to run the table and be unbelievable at quarterback for Alabama to even be invited to New York. Lenora Sellers will have the NFL scouts' attention. So, and then like guys who could come off the beaten path. There aren't running backs on this list. Like, let's see what happens running back wise. Where the big name running back, the kid out of Penn State, could he have a gigantic year running the football? Does he get invited? So we don't have this year. We don't have the same type of hype for the Heisman that we did last year. We had, and we have a Manning in college football. We just don't have the breadth of talent, the number of players that we think could wind up going into New York and being there for the Heisman Trophy. So if you do like to bet that market, this could be a very interesting year to take some shots and to go ahead and throw some darts early. And maybe you don't put full units down on it, but maybe you would identify some players that might present to you some really attractive numbers. And I don't know. Look at a Bryce Underwood from Michigan, a kid I'm really high on. He's 50-1 to win the Heisman. Could a freshman win the Heisman? Yes. If he's as good as advertised at Michigan, absolutely. If Michigan runs the table and goes undefeated and Bryce Underwood's the reason why, 100%. Gunnar Stockton, I don't think he's going to have the numbers needed to win the Heisman, but he's the quarterback for Georgia, so he's going to have huge names. The kid out of OU, and I keep on forgetting how to say this kid's name from Washington State. It's Mateer, right? John Mateer, we have a story with him in the next segment, but he's 25-1, and he put up ridiculous numbers at Washington State, and now he's with an offense in OU that he's going to throw the ball like on every down. I don't trust Drew Aller. That would be a bad bet. His numbers are going to stink. They're going to run the ball a ton. Carson Beck at Miami, we don't know what he'll look like for Miami, but we know what Cam Ward did last year in that offense. So if Beck puts up similar numbers to what Cam Ward put up last year, he's getting the invite. That's funny. No, I agree, Brendan. I mean, Carson Beck, I wouldn't do it either. I mean, I'm with you. That's probably not going to happen on this. So, Jeremiah Love, the running back for Notre Dame. Sure. FanDuel has him at, where is he? Wow, he's way down. Let's see. Is he even on the list? That's interesting. That's like in the other category, Eric, for that. But I like the kid. I mean, top 10 team. They're going to run the football a ton. Sure. Am I just missing that kid? He's not anywhere on the list. Like, FanDuel does not think that kid's going to have much of a shot. So, FYI on that. I mean, Haynes King is 65-1, the quarterback for Georgia Tech. To give Dylan Raiola from Nebraska is 65-1. Avery Johnson from K-State at 50-1. So, to give you there's Love, 40-1. Okay, Jeremiah Love at 40-1. The Irish running back there. So, there is some opportunity to go with that. So, yeah, the Irish are playing a two-back scheme, for that. On that. And yes, always the punter from Iowa. If Iowa's going to have a Heisman Trophy candidate, it's going to be the punter from Iowa. Absolutely coming up on that for that. So Heisman race could be very interesting this year. It really is wide open. News of the industry, talking about quarterbacks. So this felt kind of vindictive for somebody who wanted to create drama for the quarterback for Oklahoma, John Mateer, who is having to deny that he gambled as a freshman at Washington State. According to ESPN's David Payne-Purnham, he has come out and said that no, he did not gamble, even though the Venmo that is being posted, the screenshot of the account, says that under the note segment as to what the money was being paid for, it was for sports gambling. As we know from the Iowa State situation, it does not matter what you were betting on. It doesn't matter who you were betting on. If you're a college athlete and you were betting, you can be suspended and you can be penalized. This is not the story you want if you're an Oklahoma fan right now. You don't want an investigation into this if you're an Oklahoma fan and you have, you're ranked in the top 20 preseason, and now you're going to have to answer questions about what this kid did at Washington State, not when he was with Oklahoma, and whether or not he did gamble. And was he betting? What was he betting on? Who knows? He was betting with a bookie. He wasn't betting with a sports book. In Washington State, it is legal to gamble in Washington State, or is it? I know it's legal in Oregon. Is it legal in Washington? I'm not sure about that, actually, if it's legal. I know it's legal in Oregon, but it was a bookie regardless. So you're betting illegally. And that's why if you're a kid in high school, if you think that all your Venmo transactions are not going to be tracked one day, think again. There's a record of that. And if somebody wants to blackmail you, or if somebody wants to be vindictive towards you, well, they go ahead and leak it. They just go ahead and link it. And yeah, as Ish is saying, I feel like this can cause so much trouble because people could put down as jokes or falsely put it in the notes. 100%. Yes. 100%. There could be a situation where you have a kid who didn't do anything wrong, but you just make a fake account or you make a fake notes and say, oh, right, this $100 was for betting. Yep. This $100 was for gambling. And what are you going to do? You have to come out and say, actually, no, it wasn't. How do you prove it after the fact? Like, how do you do that? It's really hard to do that. So he has to come out and deny all of this. This is a kid. He was the number 1 overall transfer portal player going from Washington State, where he passed for 3,139 yards and 29 touchdowns last year with the Cougars. Put up huge numbers. Same offense ran by Cam Ward. Cam Ward put up big numbers at Washington State, went to Miami, was a Heisman finalist, number 1 pick overall in the draft. So the kid goes to Washington State, puts up big numbers, now going to Oklahoma, trying to become a Heisman Trophy finalist, take a OU, I mean, if OU beats Texas, this kid's going to be in the Heisman conversation. As I told you, 25-1 on him. Maybe not a bad idea to go ahead and jump on that. But he can run, he can pass. He's a really good player. OU fans have got high hopes for this guy. And then now he's involved and he has to say, I did not bet. I did not bet. I did not bet. I did not bet. Didn't do it. Didn't do it. Didn't do it. Okay. Well, it's a lot of he said, she said with a pretty obvious record or a screenshot from when he was a freshman at Washington State and whether or not he was actually betting or not. It wouldn't stun me at all if he was. I don't think the kid deserves to be, tarred and feathered over this and have his whole season be wrecked, even if he was betting. But that is 100% a situation where you need to go ahead and watch on this, because if it does turn into a major story, Oklahoma fans are going to be bummed. 100% they're going to be bummed out because they have very big, high hopes on this guy. We will do favorite thing about today coming up in bonus time. If you guys are watching on the replay on Sports Grid TV or Sirius XM, listening on XM on channel 159, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. We're back tomorrow on a Wednesday. Today was college football. Tomorrow will be a ton of NFL football, taking a look at futures and other things. And then on Thursday, Derek Brown, D-Bro from Fantasy Pros and Betting Pros will come back for a season-long outlook. AFC West comes up on Thursday. If you are live, don't move. Bonus time starts now. Okay. So let me go and see, where were you guys? What was the number one thought for the national champion you guys put up? Michigan, no shot. Not Syracuse. Texas. Who else do you guys like for the national champion here? I was wondering if you guys were going to throw out some crazy long shots, if anybody was going to actually take flyer bets, because I do think this could be the year that it might not be a bad idea. And I don't mean like a team outside of the SEC or the Big Ten, but there are some teams that I think you might actually have some luck with from a value standpoint this year when it comes to college football. And I mean, early on, there are some really big games that are going to set the table. That LSU is not crazy. Okay. I know their schedule is really tough. I know it's Brian Kelly, but you have a quarterback who can absolutely spin it. And you have a kid that is going to be experienced in that position and will be able to go on the road and be able to beat, I think, some of the best teams in college football. I'm so excited to watch LSU this year, just because are they going to be a top 10 team? Are they that good? Their schedule is brutal. At Clemson, Florida at home, Ole Miss on the road, at home against South Carolina, home for A&M, at Alabama, at Oklahoma. As of right now, on the road, they play 1, 2, 3, 4 ranked teams on the road. On the top of the fact that Nussmeier's got patellar tendonitis in his foot. That's not good, but not the end of the world. But that's not good. You don't want that. I mean, their toughest games are on the road. They have home games against a ranked South Carolina team and a ranked Texas A&M team. At the moment, preseason-wise, mind you, LSU plays 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ranked teams out of 12. That is a brutal schedule. I mean, that is but if you run the table, if you're undefeated in that, whoo, baby, Utah, WV Punch Drunk. Well, let's look at Utah. Obviously, last year was a disaster for Utah. Clearly, they want to have something of a bounce back season. But a Big 12 team to win the national championship would be something else. Like that would really put some people on their butt if that were to happen. This is a team last year that just fell apart. I mean, Utah did not win a game in October, did not win. They won one game in November. They lost every game they played in October. They lost every game except the UCF game where they won 28-14. But they were an over machine, which was so unlike Utah to go over. This year for Utah, they play at UCLA, which decent team, but not great. They play home against Texas Tech, who's ranked, home against Arizona State, who's ranked 11th, and home against Kansas State. All their ranked teams are at home. Well, that's interesting. Their schedule was not horrible. My gosh, what's the price on that? What's the price on Utah to win the national championship? 70-1, 80-1. I mean, we're talking Flyers here. That wouldn't be. Let's see, national champion Utah. 100-1, not 70-1, 100-1 for Utah to win the national championship. Can Penn State get over the hill? Brendan, I can't get there. I mean, I wish Dave was here because would be able to sing the praises more than me, but I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. We'll see. I don't think they can personally, but their schedule is ideal. If you're a Penn State fan, you love the schedule. It's exactly what you were looking for from a schedule standpoint this year, because the home game against Oregon will be huge. Top 10 team. Obviously, they got to win that game. If they win that game, they're going to be number one, number two. They're number two now, but they'll be number one if they win that game. And then they don't play really. Again, that Iowa game on the road is a complete trap. Other teams coached by James Franklin, that's where they would lose. They would lose to Iowa and then lose to Ohio State. But they play over the course of 3 weeks at Iowa, at Ohio State, and home for Indiana. Like, those are three extremely difficult games, but they're not playing Michigan. If they do play them, they'll play them in the Big Ten championship game. And after they play Indiana at home, they're at Michigan State, they're home for Nebraska, and they're at Rutgers. Those are games they should win. I mean, if Penn State's not in the playoffs, something went really, really wrong. Like, really wrong. So, yeah, and some say Penn State should be number one. Yeah, I don't think that's a horrible play. Quarterback, running back, offensive line, defensive line. That's why they're experienced. Like, and they're not just like transferred inexperienced. They're experienced in the system with the team that they've been playing for a while. So they're a little bit of an anomaly. Got a quarterback who's been there multiple years. Running back, been there multiple years. Defensive line that wrecks people, right? Yes, they got to replace some very talented players off last year's team, but this is Penn State. I mean, on defense, they just reload. They don't rebuild. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all. Is Matt Patricia that big of a detriment to Ohio State? No. Patricia can coach. Okay, he can coach. He can coach. He's good. And yes, like Joe, we talked about this already. Texas is the first ever preseason number one to be a dog week one. Yes. We did the opening line on that for sure. I saw something. Oh, here. Leg show. The Nevada Supreme Court Gruden lawsuit versus the NFL can move forward. Go Chucky. On Friday's program, Jesse Merrick from Silver and Black Sports Network will join us on Friday to talk about this. I'm gonna let this kind of play out a little bit let's have a couple of days here and let's digest it a bit. But this has the potential to be really, really problematic for the NFL. If not just discovery can happen for John Gruden, if he won't settle, if John Gruden says, I'm taking this to the mat and I want all these emails out, I want them exposed, that could be extraordinarily problematic for a lot of big time people in the NFL league offices. So my guess is John Gruden is going to be coaching in the NFL again next year, and he's going to get a gigantic paycheck from the league to settle this lawsuit. Because I don't think the NFL wants any part of an owner or any part of somebody in New York having their emails be exposed and the jokes and the things that were going back and forth. Remember, John Gruden got fired for emails that he was sending of racist and sexist nature, but they were being returned by somebody. It wasn't like he was sending it unsolicited. It was going back and forth. So who was he sending it to? Okay, we're going to find out. And we're going to find out who saw them, who was CC'd, who knew about it, and that John Gruden became a fall guy. So Gruden's case going forward is a big loss for the NFL. And the fact that discovery is going to happen is a massive, massive loss for the NFL. And John Gruden could very well be coaching in the league next year, and he may get a very big paycheck on the way to do it. So, watch that story. Friday, we'll go through all of it with Jesse Merrick from Silver and Black Sports Network here on the show. I don't think Jesse's been on the show before, but we'll have him on Friday. We already booked him for Friday to talk NFL football in week 2 of the preseason college football coming up here with that. Time for favorite thing about today. All right. If everything about today, and it's difficult to talk about this only because it's Dave, and I want Dave to be here, but it's Dave's birthday today. So whenever we have a chance to celebrate the guy, the man that is Dave Sharapan, Bet Bash is going on here right now in Vegas. And there's folks from all corners of the sports gambling world in town. And this is the week that Dave, I mean, it's hard to explain unless you've walked a room with Dave. It's hard to explain the way that people are just naturally drawn to him, and that the way they want to be around him and they want to talk to him, and just the types of personalities that Dave will elevate. He's very easy to talk to. Like we've talked about it before about him, you know, he should have been a rabbi or he should have been a priest, because people just pour their guts out to him. That's really true. And when you're sick and you're the one that needs that help, that's really difficult, because you have helped so many people that when you need help, it's tough, because, you know, in this life, so many of us are at the end of the day alone, right? You have family, you have your children, you have your friends, but at the end of the day, it's your own mortality that you're dealing with. It's your own life, your own body that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And so that's why I want you guys to go and wish Dave happy birthday, and go and just write him on Twitter, and just, you know, let's flood his mentions. Let's make his phone buzz like crazy. I don't know if he has his phone. I've been getting like intermittent text messages. The last text I got from Dave's phone was actually from his daughter, who wrote to a group of people on a group chat. And so I have not gotten, again, I told you guys before, I haven't spoken to Dave since the last time he was on the show, like verbally spoken to him back in June. So it's been over a month that I've spoken to Dave, and I've been texting with him, but I haven't gotten a text from Dave in about 3 weeks. So I'm massively concerned. You know, if anyone's supposed to be in communication with Dave, it's me. And people have come to me from, I cannot tell you the number of people who have emailed and DM'd and called me and wanting to know what's going on. And my answer is like, you know, as much as I do. And so today being Dave's birthday, I sent a text yesterday. I sent a text to the entire family today saying, hey, like, where is Dave and how can I get to see him? So I have a general idea of where he is, which hospital he's in, but I don't know which one specifically that Dave's currently in. So hopefully that gets answered today, and I get over to see him today or tomorrow. But I want to see him on his birthday, but his family might want to just have their time with him, and I totally understand that. So we can go through social media at SportsBK go wish Dave a happy birthday today, and let's try to cheer him up today and try to make his day, his birthday, just a little bit easier than what it has been, because he's battling, and I'm going to let him tell everyone as to what he's battling. There's a lot more going on than besides the cancer. Like, that's about all I'll say. The cancer situation is bad, but it's not that bad. There is a new development, a new situation that happened while he was receiving treatment that has caused him to be, he's not in the hospital because of cancer treatment, just FYI, just to let you guys know that. I'll say that. He's not in the hospital because of the mouth cancer. That's been dealt with. That's been treated. He has more treatment to undergo through that. But the reason why he's there in a hospital in Las Vegas is not due to the cancer treatment. So something else happened with Dave. So hopefully at some point he'll be good enough to explain what happened and talk about it. But that's all that I'll share as to what's going on. So if you're like, what's this? It's all confusing. It is very confusing. I'm still very confused. I don't have the full story either, but it's his birthday. Go write him on Twitter at SportsBKConsig. Wednesday, tomorrow, we'll get back to the NFL side of things. Did all college football today. We'll do NFL football today. Debro on Thursday. Jesse Merrick on Friday. Full show, full week, full episodes coming at you. We're back tomorrow, same place, same time for a Wednesday's episode of the Bostonian versus the Book.